starting the video. Hello. I am Kylie, the author whisperer. Welcome to the live stream where I get to, pick apart all the self-publishing questions that you might have. If you're here live, then say hi. If you're watching the replay, then welcome as well. I know in different parts of the world, this is the ideal time for me because it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've kind of done a lot of the stuff that I have to do. All I have to do now is I've got to go up to the shops and buy a few things, but I know it's like, I think it's like 1 a.m. in the US or something. But anyway, welcome. And this is something I was talking about with someone I was coaching just recently, but it's a topic that is very dear to my heart. And not only that, it was something that I 100% struggled with myself. And when I understood it, this was the incredible thing. Okay, I just have to do this little sharing thing that you do. When I worked this out, it really made, you're in a group, it really made all the difference to how I wrote, but even more importantly, how I was able to get the words out of me in a really flowing way, how I was able to then connect on the other end with my ideal reader. So that is, yes, what it is all about today. Connecting with your ideal reader. How do you do that? How do you write in a way that you connect? Yeah, how do you write in a way that you connect? I guess that's probably the simplest way to put it. And basically, if your book doesn't connect with your ideal reader, then it's just the whole experience is not as fantastic for you or for anyone. So that is what it's all about today. And I have got a really, this was kind of like an aha moment for me when I realized this made so much difference. And I'm just really excited to share it with you. So the tendency is when we write is that we kind of see ourselves as having multiple readers, and that a little bit like maybe say giving a speech or something, and so you're talking to a group of people, and so when you do that, you use the kind of language, the way you speak and the language you use it's got to be a little bit generic. It's got to connect with lots of different types of people who are different ages and from different walks of life, different sexes, different experience levels, all of that. So when you're talking to people and that's in your mind, you kind of have to create language that's going to inclusive language. It definitely makes for a less connecting experience than, let's say, you sitting down with a single particular person. It could be a close friend, or it could be someone that you've just recently met, or doesn't matter. But the point is, when you're sitting next to and close to a single person and you're telling the exact same story, think of the two different ways that you would share that experience, because that is what I want you to think about before you put pen to paper or fingers to keyboard. Now, we are today starting the 30-day author workshop, boot camp workshop. It is kind of. We are starting that today, and this is going to be one of the things that I'm going to sort of take a deep dive into, but I really wanted to share this overview. But if you do want to know more, then you probably want to get on board the 30-day author boot camp starting today. Just go to kylieansett.com/30 days, and you'll find out all about it. But let me tell you how this aha moment that I had, it made all the difference. You okay, a book is a different experience. So someone reading your book, it's a different experience for them. It's a very personal one-on-one kind of experience, and that is what you need to bring to your actual book. So when you are, say, talking to a huge group of people, as opposed to talking to one person, that's what you need to bring into the actual book. When you are being general with your language and talking in very general terms, people aren't going to really connect. Just think of it. Your reader is reading your book in a one-on-one situation. It is one-on-one between you and them when they're reading that book. They're sitting there, in their bedroom, in their lounge room, in their car, in their wherever, on the train, and they're reading that book. It's just you and them. It's not you giving a speech to them. That's what has to come across in your book. And if you miss this point, you will miss out on connecting. Now, I see it all the time. I was just recently asked to give some feedback on a book, and I can't remember the exact title, but I know that it had something like, whatever it was something to do with weddings or wedding planning, and it was for the bride and groom. And I thought, right there, that's a mistake. You can't be talking to the bride and the groom in your book, and that's how specific you have to get. Now, this seems incredibly counterintuitive, and so I'm here to reassure you that it isn't. It feels counterintuitive, but it works. What you need to do is you need to decide, am I talking to the bride or the groom? And who is that bride? Exactly. Like, how old is she? Is this her first wedding? Is this her whatever? And you have to nail it down to a single individual person. Whatever your book is about, that's who I call her Irene. She is your ideal reader. And she is a single person, and that's who you're talking to. You're sitting down, you're having a cup of tea with Irene, and you're telling your story to her. Now, if you are able to do that, what will happen is you will connect. This is why it feels counterintuitive, because you want thousands and millions of people, hundreds of thousands and hundreds of millions. You want lots of people to read your book. So surely it doesn't make sense to just kind of narrow, niche down into one very sort of narrow market. Wrong. This is where, think about any, think about a pop star or a film actor or someone who is incredibly popular. Why they do it is because they do appeal to a narrow niche, but then they manage to spread that out. That happens afterwards, though. First of all, you need to make that connection. I was thinking if I saw a film clip or part of a film clip, actually it was a GIF, that's right. GIF, whatever they call them. Anyway, you know those things, of Marilyn Manson. Now, that is a very niche kind of person, like so bizarre, so obscure, very specific in who he is appealing to. But because he is really owning that very, very narrow band and not trying to be generic and appeal to everyone, well, he attracts his people to him. And that's kind of the point. I don't know how I got to comparing Marilyn Manson to who you write your book to, but it did seem like an appropriate analogy. So the point is, really get specific in who your book is aimed at, because that is what's going to make all the difference. If you can write in a way that connects to one single person, that is going to hugely impact lots of those one single people, and way more than if you had kept it generic. Let's go back to the bride and groom book. Okay, so it's not really written for men and it's not really written for women. It's written for both. Now that right there is a mistake, because the way that you speak and connect with a man would be slightly different or vastly different to how you would speak to and connect with a woman. So because you're going to be trying to keep your language general to connect with both of them, you're actually going to end up connecting with neither of them. Now, if you can grasp this concept, it just makes such a huge difference. So you just need to own it and say, this book is for grooms, or this book is for brides. Now, if you did that, think of what a different book it would be. The different sort of things that you would be able to dive into, and the language you would use, and the problems that either the bride or the groom would face, etc. And you narrow it down way more than just, is it the male or the female? You go right into your niche, to a single individual person. Now, anytime you read a book, actually, let me give you the example. Harry Potter, perfect example. Harry Potter is a book that is aimed at like 7, I think the first one, 7 or 8 year old boys. That's who it's written for. It's written for people who are Harry Potter. And so that is a little boy in a kind of like a Western society, kind of upper middle class, whatever. And then also, who feels marginalized and feels unloved and unheard and unseen and unwanted. So that's who Harry Potter was written for. And as each subsequent book came out, he got a little bit older, but it was still written for that same, little unloved boy. But how many people did it connect with, right? It connects with the grandmas, it connects with little girls, it connects with teenagers, it connects with, adults. It connected with everyone. But if J.K. Rowling have written it for everyone and sort of tried to keep a little bit generic, so yeah, okay, you could be a teenager, or you could be a 7-year-old, or you could be an 8 to 80-year-old kind of crap like that. If she had written it like that, it would have been so deadly boring, because she wouldn't have been just owning that space of like, this is for a 7-year-old boy. And this is, how I'm writing and what I'm writing about, and the problems that they have. But because she connected so deeply with that individual person, it then expands out. A lot of these things are universal anyway, but they're not universal if that's how you approach them in the beginning. I hope that makes sense, because for me, that was a massive aha. It changed the way I wrote. It made writing so much easier, and I can guarantee it made reading the book so much easier. So before you start writing, this is my tip to you. Get crystal clear on your ideal reader, your one single person who is your Irene, and write to her. Okay, that's it. That's all I've got to say. Actually, it's not. I could talk about this all day, but it's super, super important. But what I would love to do is see you in the 30-day author bootcamp. Now, 30 days sounds pretty intense, but what I'm promising you is at the end of 30 days, what you will get is, in your hot little hands, you will have your rough draft of your book finished. And that's if you start right now with nothing, without even an idea, without even a clear idea. You can go from that to finished first draft. Now, that is an incredible achievement. 30 days. So that's basically, we actually start today, so going right through to the 20th of November. You have until, I'm keeping the doors open for this until the end of the weekend. So you've basically got the next 48 hours to get in. And I would love to see you in there. I'm going to be taking you through exercises on a daily basis. There's going to also be some in-depth trainings. And I'm going to be your accountability, your ass-kicking support person coach that's going to help you actually get to that end place where you may have been sitting on an idea or not knowing how or where to start. Well, guess what? This is where you start. So you want to jump on to the kylieansett.com/30 days. In fact, if you go to the banner up the top, I'm pretty sure the link at the moment is going right out there, and grab this opportunity, because I'm thrilled to be able to support you to create and share your story with the world, because this is, if you've got something that's worth saying, if you have a burning passion, a yearning inside to share some some knowledge that you have, some wisdom, some skills, some information and experience that you think the world will be a richer place for having your take on it, then don't hold it inside, because all you're doing is a disservice to yourself and without a doubt a disservice to the rest of the world. I mean, if you don't put it out there, then nobody is going to read it. That much is for sure. So I really encourage you to take that first step. And if you do need that extra support, that extra help, then the 30-day author bootcamp is without a doubt going to be the thing that will help you get your butt into gear and make it happen. That's my wish for you. So what are you waiting for? The world needs your story. So write now. Bye.